Alright, shalom, y'all. Quick video, quick message to the brothers, man. Be the phenomenon. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that in a second, but be the phenomenon. Don't be afraid to be this phenomenon that you're about to read about. And understand that if you don't go with the ways of society today and you don't agree with the ways of the order of how the woman is, coming up to the heights of the man and now she becoming like a man and all that, then you are the phenomenon. You actually thinking like the phenomenon. So let's read this. This is the Willie Lynch letter. And if you haven't read the Willie Lynch letter, I strongly encourage you to go back and check it out, man. It tell you how bad our sisters is doing. And make me some coffee. Yeah. It tell you how bad our sisters is doing, and it tell you how they got to the position they are as far as the disrespect that they have for us and why we seem to be nothing in their eyes, or like no matter what we do, for some reason we just nothing to our sisters. And that's because it was instilled in them a long time ago to look at us like we nothing. But there was something that could possibly happen that could turn our sisters back right. And that's what I want to read about so y'all can see. But when y'all get a chance, man, check out the whole Willie Lynch letter, man. It really break it down. But let's get into it. So it said warning possible interlooping negative. So this is the things that they was trying to warn the slave owners about when it came to dealing with the slaves. Like, look, such and such could happen, such and such couldn't happen. We letting y'all know this ahead of time so y'all don't be stupid and let this happen. So this is one of the things they were speaking out in the book. It said earlier we talked about the non-economic good of the horse and the nigger being in the wild or natural state. We talked about the principle of breaking and tying them together for orderly production. Furthermore, we talked about paying particular attention to the female savage and her offspring orderly future planning. Let me read that part again. It says, make it bigger. Furthermore, we talked about paying particular attention to the female savage and her offspring orderly future planning. Then, more recently, we stated that by reversing the positions of the male and female savages, we had created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever until this phenomenon occurred and reshifted the positions of the male and female savages. This is the phenomenon. The brothers that's standing up saying, nah, this is not how it's supposed to be. This is not how God intended it. This is not how households are supposed to be ran, all of that. This is the phenomenon that they're afraid of. They're afraid of brothers coming back and setting households in order because they have destroyed our sisters. They have destroyed our communities by turning the structure of the household upside down. And they feel like this is going to last forever, except if some men come and fix it. A phenomenon occurring. Understand, brothers, you have the power to fix it. But the only way you can fix it is by serving your God. If you don't serve your God, ain't no way you're going to get no order in your life. Notice this is for order. The order that they need. The order that they need us to have in our household is the woman in charge, so they can deal with her. They can manipulate her and get what they need out of her, and then she can go back and throw that on the household. That's what they need. And they said the only thing that could stop that is a phenomenon occurring. Let me read the second part. It says, our experts warn us about the possibility of this phenomenon occurring. For they say the mind has a strong drive to correct and recorrect itself over a period of time. If it can touch a substantial original historic base. If it could touch a substantial original historic base, what that sound like? The Bible. If they can get a hold of that Bible, it's gonna turn everything back the way it's supposed to be. And they knew this. So he said, if it could touch a substantial original historical base. And they advised us that the best way to deal with the phenomenon is to shave off the brute's mental history and create a multiplicity of phenomenon of illusions that each illusion can twirl on its own orbit, similar to floating balls in a vacuum. What they trying to do, they trying to send you down 1,000 rabbit holes to figure out your heritage, figure out who you are. You got brothers thinking we Egyptian. You got brothers thinking we Africans. You got brothers thinking we Hispanics. We got brothers thinking we all kind of other names that we not, because they took off our heritage. They destroyed our heritage from us. And by taking our heritage from us, that took the order out of our households. So they know the historic, knowing our history, knowing where we come from, that is a huge deal on getting our household back in order. So us coming back to the Bible is what causes the phenomenon. Because in this society we in, nowhere can you go where the phenomenon is the other way around. Thank you. Nowhere can you go where the phenomenon is switched around. And mainly it's because we in America. We in a country that's set up to do everything out of order. Like literally everything. But it says clearly that if these brothers find out, these savages, what they were trying to call us, really they kings. They had to destroy us mentally so we wouldn't understand that. But they saying if we found out our history of who we are, it would change back the order. Is that a coincidence that the Bible is clearly telling you that the man is the Lord over the woman? I don't think that's a coincidence. It's clearly letting you know here, if they get attached to their history, it could bring them back to where they was before we destroyed them. So we need to make sure we send them down a bunch of rabbit holes. Like for instance, let's tell these white folks they the Jews and tell them they just niggas. So that completely destroys their history off. And they, even if it seemed like they was catching on to them being the Jews, oh, we already got people that's the Jews. So clearly that ain't y'all. Y'all need to sit down somewhere. So that have destroyed us, destroyed our mental to where we feel like we nothing. We come from nothing. We don't have no basic structure or background. And because we feel that way, we trust in everything that's given to us. We trust in the system of America. We trust in it wholeheartedly, like, oh, well, it's working for them, and we ain't never had nothing work. We ain't nobody. So we might as well trust in what they doing. We might as well go by their system. Whole time, again, like I said before, we learn marriage from men that they woman can kick them out the bedroom and tell them go sleep on the couch. Now, where you find that in the scripture? The woman's supposed to be in complete subjection and everything. But again, that's who we learn marriage from. They don't want us to know the true order. They don't follow the true order themselves. And the crazy part about it is at this time when the Willie Lynch letter was made, their women was more in subjection. Their women was more in order. But in order to keep us down, they had to release these same type of laws amongst their own kind. And that's how bad it done got. To where now their own women don't even want to listen to them. But that's supposed to come with it when you create a bunch of wickedness. But just understand, brothers, you got to be the phenomenon. You got to change things up in your household. You got to reverse the roles back to the way God said it's supposed to be. Because this is wicked as hell what's going on. We see that our household, we see our families can't survive too long with this. We got to bring everything back to biblical structure. Without the Bible, we nothing, man. We wasting time, we playing. But with the Bible, then we can start seeing some success amongst our community. The first step is getting the order right. The order in the household is the very first thing to get right. Because once you fix the household, you can fix the community. Community is a group of households. So if you fix the households individually, then the community itself is going to be fixed. It's just 1+1, man. It's not that hard. Well, brothers, don't be afraid to stand up and fix this thing and turn it back right. This was placed as a curse. This was done to keep us down, to keep us from ruling our household. Don't be afraid to set it back right. And don't deal with women that want to stick and hold on to this here. Don't do that, because that's going to continuously hold you down when you know the difference. You know that it told you that a man is supposed to be in charge. You know that the Willie Lynch letter is clearly showing you that they turned the order of the house upside down. And they hoped that nothing could happen that could turn it all the way back the way it was before. So while we seeing this, we got to understand, we cannot allow what's going on in their heads to control our households. We can't allow the fact that they hate us and they have the hatred for us to control our household anymore, especially when we know better. When you know better, you do better. So if you clearly seeing that this was a plot and a plan to make the woman feel like she was above the man and not trust the man, you seriously reading this, like I said, go back and read the whole Willie Lynch letter. This was their aim. Their aim was to break the structure and the union of the Israelite family. So because they did that, now we see today it just seems like it's just normal. We have to go back and fix it as men, as being the phenomenon. And if we can do this, y'all already know, man, we can fix our community and we can come back to God as a whole and make a huge difference. But it starts with you brothers, man, being the phenomenon. You know, being that one that say, look, I'm not for the nonsense. I'm not for what y'all talking about. I see what the Bible say, and I'm gonna go with what God say. That original historic base. And that's what put brothers back in the leadership position. So brothers, you also got to make sure you're dealing with a woman that fear God, because then you can go by a playbook. You got a whole map to go by. But if she don't fear God, she just looking at that like a piece of paper, man. And you really in trouble at that point in time. So, yeah, I got an estimate I need to hit up. I just wanted to touch on that with y'all, man. Let y'all know, man. Be the phenomenon. Don't be afraid to stand up for what God said is right. This was all done against you. And you can fix it, but you got to stand up for what God says right. It's like Psalm 94 say, who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? And you got to stand up for the Lord against all of this nonsense that they got out here. And it's telling you that they was afraid of this happening in the future. They was afraid that one day it was going to be some men that would actually come and fix this. And that time is coming, and that time is here now. I just want to let you brothers know, man. Have some confidence and stand strong for the Lord. Shalom.